Okay, good morning everybody, especially to those in Europe. Good evening to those in Asia, and probably good night's sleep for those in the American zone. It's a pleasure to be here, pleasure to be back, even if I'm listening myself, kind of an echo over there. But we're gonna fix that pretty soon. Hopefully you don't listen to me twice the same way I'm listening to myself. It's kind of tough to talk to when you listen to your own football commentary. They go like, oh, nothing else is happening. Uh, Everybody, I have a very special guest with me this morning. We have the pleasure to be together with Peter Fleming. He was the 1999 PBA Rookie of the Year. Professional bowler. He's going to be chatting with us today. He's going to help us do a few comments. Paul. Yeah, Paul Fleming, ladies and gentlemen, is going to join us today. And good morning, Paul. Nice to be here.
Yes, it's great to be here. I wish I was watching my son bowl, but he struggled a little bit on this pattern. So I'm watching Caitlin from the U.S. and get to root her on today.
She had a very tough first day. The first squad, she was struggling a lot. I could see she was suffering a little bit, couldn't really find the right reaction. When she moved a little bit far out, it was breathing a bit too early for her. As soon as she moved a little bit in, the carry wasn't there anymore. But day two, she bowled spectacular, and yesterday she carried quite okay, so she made it all the way into the final, and she's looking pretty good, pretty consistent, pretty strong, nice technique.
Yeah, she's a very consistent bowler. Just watching the ladies and the guys, they kind of attack the lanes a little bit different, and they are very challenging. So the condition is hit the pocket and pick up your spares.
That is one of the things that we could notice actually on the boys division. There was a lot more urethane going on than in the girls division. When you look at the ladies, some of them are using urethane, sticking far out to the outside part of the lane, but I'd say probably 50% of them are actually using reactive balls.
Yeah, on the that you are correct on that. The guys tend to use the urethane, especially the purple hammer. I noticed that ball goes down the lane quite
It's
a
a
bit
lot of
here.
those going around, definitely. Okay, so what do you expect for today? You think it's going to be a little bit more of pressure going on since it's match play? They're facing each other. They have a 30 pins bonus if they win the match. I believe it's 15 if they have a draw, and they get absolutely nothing when they lose. You think that's going to be also part of the mental game today? It's going to make them perhaps overthink a little bit at some shots.
I think so. You know, there's 15 games, and there's a lot of games. And in the first block, everybody should be relaxed. The second block is when everybody's probably going to press a little bit more, but it looks like some of the players are already pressing out of the gate.
That's what it felt to me as well. I saw a few more shots, you know, when you start missing a little bit, kind of what I call check the room inside. I see a few shots that they're not swinging out the ball as they used to do the first couple of days. And I think that's because of that little extra pressure that you want to win the game. It's hard for you to put your, we could say, your proper mental game in place. So you start thinking, okay, this is going to be very long. It's not only today, it's today and tomorrow. It's a lot of games to go. So it really doesn't matter if game one or game two doesn't really go as I wished. So, but still, I mean, they are human.
Oh yeah.
The feelings come in play, and the pressure gets in play. Your brain can become very tricky, and it becomes tough to overcome this these kind of situations.
Yeah, the biggest thing is whether you're scoring high and you're nice and loose with your swing. The biggest thing most people don't realize is when the condition's hard, you have to have the same relaxed approach to the game.
It's easier said than done,
It
isn't
is
it?
a lot easier said than done. So everybody always goes, there's so much more pressure for a 300.
That's
Well,
one of the things that I think I realized as I started being more a coach than a bowler. Life is it's a lot easier as a coach than it is as a bowler.
yeah, we can kind of dictate, hey, this is what you should do, and it's really harder to get your mindset in that mindset.
Okay, and we are already on game 3. That's already a couple of games. We've seen Norway shooting 234 to 26, so she made a couple of high games. Australia started also with a very high game. Just had a little bit of Miss Carey at the very end, but she started with the front 7, unless I'm wrong, for 250 something, and then she made 200. She won both games. So now we have Norway on first position. Australia is currently second. Mexico, she made it on the very last moment. She was the 16th player going in, and actually it happened on the last couple of frames. And now she's up there on top 3. So that's kind of part of the fun of the format as well. You really needed to just make it into that top 16, and after that, fight yourself all the way up.
Oh, correct. It's kind of, as a bowler, it's kind of disappointing for the top players that all the pins drop, but in the same aspect for the bottom half, it's refreshing that, okay, I don't have to make up all these pins, and if I figure them out and perform, I can be up there as well.
It's kind of giving them a new opportunity to
Absolutely.
shine. Yeah, actually, for example, we can see now Germany. She was top 3, and she has been on top 4 during the 3 days of competition we had so far. And this morning she didn't start with not that much of lag. She had a couple of shots with bad carry, and just 1 or 2 single pins missing, and then it became a little bit mental. You could see on her body language that she was struggling a little bit. So we could probably see some of the pressure, as we said, affecting a little bit on her mental game. Now she's working on a double and few spares, so she seems to be waking up, probably we could call it that way. But we see a lot of strikes going on. We see Jenny is already Norway. She's got a double 9 spare and another 5 in a row.
Yes.
We see Jessica from England. She's got 4 in a row. And let me see. Some more strikes for Stella, also from Finland. She started with a front 4. We've got Costa Rica. She seems to be bowling on the whole league as well. She's got an amazing technique, doesn't she?
She throws the ball extremely well.
It's a lot of talent out there, guys. It's this new generation, they really know what to do with the ball. They really know how to give some spin to the ball, give some reps to the ball, and it's a little bit also a matter of repetition and accuracy, of course, but they seem to be very comfortable with their coaches. Seems to be a good chemistry between all of them.
Yes.
So we have, it's going to be a pretty interesting final. We can expect a lot of high scoring again today.
I think so. I think the players started to settle down game 3. If you look across the board, there's not a whole lot of opens, and I think they're finally getting settled in.
Paul, you had the chance to actually test the pattern because you were part of the PBA bowlers and top Swedish bowlers exhibition with some of the kids that we had on Wednesday evening over here, and you had the chance to actually bowl the pattern that they are bowling on now. How did that feel for you?
Well, I can see why some of the players struggled as they did. If you did not play them correctly, they were very hard.
What was the easiest part of the lane, or what was a place where you felt it was going to be a little bit, where you could find a little bit of extra room, we could say?
It was more toward the outside part of the lane. For the guys, it seemed like if you got the ball to 2, 3, 4, and got it to tip up a little bit. You had a little bit more miss room out there, but the angles were really important. Your launch angle had to be more to the right, otherwise the pattern's pretty flat and it's not very forgiving.
So it's actually probably a little bit easier if you miss outside than missing inside in this case.
Correct.
I would have liked that pattern. I really love the ball outside, so good fun for me.
Yeah, it's one of those. It seemed like if you missed inside, your ball didn't hook, and then if you missed inside too much, your ball hooked too much. So that was really a challenge.
So you couldn't really expect the ball to hold that well when you miss to the left. In this case, as a right-hander.
Correct, and that's kind of the misconception. A lot of times you have hold when you miss left. Well, it really wasn't playable hold. If your launch angles were to the right, you created hold. But if they weren't to the right, it wiggled.
Then it became tricky.
It became very tricky.
And also, especially in the boys' squads, since they use a lot of urethane, that caused a lot of traffic down the lane, and it became a little bit tricky. And it also was a little bit, who am I following? Am I following somebody who is actually making the lane a little bit easy for me, or am I following someone who's actually going to make the lane very hard for me?
That is very true. And the biggest thing is, not only did the down the lane get tighter, the front part of the lane hooked more. So it was really navigating. My ball sometimes didn't go down the lane, and then it didn't have that launch angle. So some of the players that bowled really well, they were able to get the ball through the fronts really good, or they lofted the ball. There's a lot of different techniques being used. So
we've seen many different ways to attack the game, but if there was a common thing, it was that those who scored pretty high, they managed to keep their break point pretty far outside.
Correct.
And they just had to realize, okay, what kind of ball do I need to use at the moment so the angle, it's not too aggressive or not way too far from the pin, so it becomes, weak in terms of energy when it hits the pocket. So it felt like they understood the line was out there, or the breakpoint should be out there. And it became a little bit tricky also to find out which ball am I needing to use. I saw many of them that they stood with the urethane, maybe perhaps for a little bit too long. As soon as they moved that ball a little bit too deep and the breakpoint was a little bit deeper, then the carry was not as good, and you could start to see a little bit of deflection and lose of energy on those balls.
Right. Well, the biggest thing I noticed is they might have got out of urethane to go to another urethane. So I didn't see a whole lot of reactive balls going down the lane of the people that were scoring. The ones that seemed to score the best created the best angle pair to pair. So when they moved, they were able to put multiple games together. That was the tricky part. When you move pairs, it could be totally different, and if you didn't make the right choices, you really struggled on that lane.
I mean, it's getting more and more important nowadays with this new equipment, with these balls that either absorb so much oil or they push it down. And since most of the new balls, they absorb so much oil, we have seen how the patterns have become thicker and thicker over the years. So that means when the guys use these kind of balls like the Bumble Hammer with such low differential that they have no flare, obviously the same part of the surface of the ball is going to be in touch with the lane. So what's going to happen is going to push the oil down, it's going to make the lane longer, and then the back-end reaction becomes weaker and a little bit more unstable. So if you don't really stay awake and try to really read what's happening with your ball, you may end up having either overreaction, low reaction, over under, and then it's when it becomes very tricky, very messy, and it can trigger a few wrong buttons on your brain to make you start doubting about what you're doing.
Yes.
And when we're bowling this kind of competitions, I mean, you don't want to give up any frames, so you don't want to do any big, crazy changes unless you really know exactly what you're doing.
Oh, that is very true. And what's been coming more and more is the surface. A lot of people, especially with the urethanes, they use a lot more surface to get their ball to hook, and they get it to slow down the right way, and then a lot of times on reactives the same way. So it gives it a smoother reaction to control, so you can control the pocket.
The one difference that I could say I notice a lot on today's game compared to 15, 20 years ago, even if the best ones do also manage to have speed control, it's not so much the tool they go on to as we did 20 years ago. We used to play a lot with the speed control, speed it up, slow it down. We used to tilt our hand and do a lot of different things with our wrist in order to make it roll forward if we wanted the ball to become a little bit more steady, read a little bit sooner, and not so aggressive on the back. We turn and turn the hand and start spinning it when we also wanted the ball to keep a little bit extra energy, a little bit extra back end reaction. And it feels like today, this new generation, they are more into just let's get all the power out there, just make it even harder, make it even higher speed, higher rev rate. But they are not that much into that era as we were on slower shots, spin the ball a little bit. It's not that many that they actually do those kind of things.
No, you're absolutely correct. I'm in the same era as you with adjusting ball speed, rotation. Uh, the rotation part they do a lot of, I think. But as far as speed control, they just, I want to say, hit the ball more, turn the ball more, make it hook more. That's what the games come to.
I mean, in a way, with all those purple hammers in play, especially Europe and South Europe, you see so many events where actually the racks are all full of that purple hammer.
Yes.
So it has becoming, it's kind of a pandemic in a way, because everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's trying to hit the same line and the same type of shot. And what's happening is that we see many, many, many events where the first three games are like higher scoring, and then as the squad goes on, it becomes tricky. And it's the opposite if we compare to 20 years ago. Maybe we would have some flatter patterns. It would become a little bit tougher on the beginning.
Yes.
But since reactive was like the new thing, and those balls suck a lot of oil, obviously the lanes turned easier and easier and easier as the day went on.
Yeah, no, that's kind of exactly right. So what's different about international versus in the States, a lot of tournaments, there's not a lot of purple hammers.
It's not that popular in the United States.
No,
It's not that much.
no.
Yeah.
Probably because of the conditions. And don't get me wrong, when it's a shorter pattern, the urethanes come out. But a lot of times it's not used as much as it is over here.
I feels like up here sometimes I joke. I think I say they take the ball to the shower. They take the ball to bed with them. It's like I'm gonna call it. They stop putting the dog in bed and they just have the purple hammer.
Yeah, yeah.
It's obviously a very special ball.
It is.
It does generate some kind of reaction, especially when the back of the lane becomes a little bit tricky.
Yes.
That ball manages to come back from places that no other urethane
Oh,
manages
correct.
to come back.
I kind of call that ball, it's a urethane ball, but it kind of reacts like a reactor.
It's a very particular ball, indeed. I mean, I bowl for Storm, I've been bowling for Storm for the last 10, 15 years, so obviously I've never thrown purple hammer, but I have eyes, so I can see what it does. And I'm going to give you an example. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I was bowling a tournament, big event up in the north of Sweden, and I was bowling with a guy who was a little bit lower level than me, a little bit less rev rate than I had, a little bit less hook overall, and by that time it was the proton physics that had just came out, so it was the heavy oil ball.
Yep.
And during the warm up, I more or less realized, okay, let's see where's the guy who's bowling with me, where is he standing? Am I going to be able to use his area? What's going on? He was standing more or less about 5 boards to the right than I was standing on the feet, and probably shooting ball about 3 or 4 boards more to the right than I was doing. That was all the way through the warm-up. And we both had the proton physics. So I had an idea of what his grab rate and hook was compared to mine. In the middle of the first game, he just went to his back and he put the purple hammer in play. And I still today don't understand how that happened. But that guy suddenly was 10 boards to the left than I was, using the purple hammer. And for me it was like, what is happening with that ball? How can that ball hold a lot more than my heavy oil reactive? That was kind of cake, something new. I mean, that guy had maybe 250, 300 reps,
Right.
100 reps, more or less than I did. And he would hook the lane, and I was like, man, he can hook that ball.
Yeah, that is definitely a special ball. So.
That makes me understand why these kids that bowl two hands and they have such a high speed shot. That ball's going to read no matter what. That ball's going to come back no matter what. And what I'm afraid of is what's going to happen if one day they suddenly decide, okay, enough of the purple hammer. We just discovered that for whatever the reason, after a few months, it becomes a little bit softer than it should be. Or I'm not saying that that's the case, but let's say that became the case or something similar to that, and they decide, okay, now this ball is out of play. What's going to happen with all those thousands of bowlers that only use that ball?
Right. Well, I think, I don't know if the rules are the same over here. They did away with weight holds. They do the same over here.
Extra holes?
The extra holes.
But they're forbidden now.
Yes. So international is the same way.
Mm.
So, but they had a year, 18 months that you had to do that. So like in 2020, you have until the end of 2021 to make that. I think if it happens, it's maybe going to be along that same way. It's probably going to be all urethane. If they eliminate it, okay, by 2028, you're not able to throw urethane. So start making your, and people will hang on to it until they can't.
Yeah, for us last on the very last day of the very last shot on the house league or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, shall we see a little bit what's going on? We have right now Norway is in the top with 3 games won, 3 out of 3. So she's got 90 pins of bonus. Plus she's shot 234, 226, 258. So with the bonus, that puts her up with 808 in 3 games, 239.3 average. She's currently leading the event. We have Denmark back on top. She seems to feel herself very comfortable on the lane. She has been up there all week long.
Yeah, she's had a very good reaction. Keeps the ball in play really well.
She's very consistent.
Yes.
She has a very nice technique.
Yep.
Smooth. She doesn't overdo anything. Love the balance. She's also quite tall, long arm. So
Very
you can
tall.
see she makes things look so simple, and
Yep.
it looks pretty good, pretty strong. Then on the 3rd position we have Australia. She seems to feel very comfortable today. Very good reaction. She's using reactive, standing outside. I believe she's making a shot now on lane 14. There we go, around 7 board, maybe swinging out to the 5. This one didn't hook as much, but she seems to feel a lot more comfortable than she was the first couple of days. Then we have, let's see, Mexico, still number 4 at the moment. She's also, Ivana, she's also bowling pretty much that area around the 6-7 board, parallel shot, not swinging it much outside, but she feels comfortable in there as well. Then we've got England. She's been using the purple hammer all the time. She grips it a little bit more. Not that much speed as we could find on Australia or Mexico, just a little bit smoother. But she's using the purple hammer, standing outside as well. I didn't say about Norway, but Norway has also been using the purple hammer far to the right. She's probably the one bowling further outside. And then we have Colombia. She bowls for Storm, so she's the one that for sure is not using any purple hammer at all.
Yeah.
She's been bowling reactive all week. She had a couple of struggling moments, probably due to all that urethane traffic. since she's not having any purple hammer with her, she's gonna have to fight it, but she's managing to do quite okay. Uh, Seventh position, we have already United States. She started with a little bit low game, but then she seemed to feel back on track to 16 to 12 on game 2 and game 3. She got the bonus on both of those games, and then in 8th position at the moment we have the local. We have Maya from Sweden. The top 8 it's on 205 average, 645 with the bonus, so that's 215 with the bonus. And right after that we got Singapore, Finland, Croatia, Malaysia, Thailand, Germany. No, sorry, that was Costa Rica. Costa Rica, excuse me. 12 is Malaysia, 13 is Thailand, 14th is Germany, Croatia is 15th, and Ireland is at 16th place at the moment. We can see a little bit of pressure going on, but slowly getting better as we see more strikes in the scoring than we have seen in the first couple of games.
Well, you see Costa Rica, Lena has a strike spare and looks like 6-bag. 5 in a row.
5 in a row on lane 5 and 6. She seems to be finding the spot. I saw her using the reactive a little bit sooner than she did the first couple of days.
Okay.
She switched to the reactive a little bit sooner. Not sure if the lanes feel a little bit different today, since it's a little bit less bowlers also. Only one player per game. Even the warm-up was a little bit shorter in terms of frames, because it was only one bowler per lane.
Right.
And also the weather compared to yesterday, it's a little bit warmer, it's a little bit more sunny. But maybe that changed a little bit the plan they had from the beginning. But she's looking very consistent again and pretty strong. Now she's just made the 6th one in a row.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Elena, what I've noticed, when she finds her shot, she can strike a lot. She shot a 300 yesterday. I believe it might have been on 5 and 6.
Yeah, I think it was. It was a funny thing about that 300 game, actually. I spoke to her coach this morning, and he explained to me that she really didn't care about the 300 game. Actually, when she got after she got the 10th strike, she asked the coach, "Should I try something now?" So, and he said, "But you're going for 300." And she says, "I don't care. I don't really care for the attention. Maybe it's better if we just try something for the next game." I mean, that tells you a lot about not only her talent, but her mental understanding of the game, that it's not so important that I get the 300 now, as it's important that I remain on the right spot, that I know what I should be doing, needing to do right after.
Correct. Now, did you hear what she did? She ended up, I don't think she moved in the 11th, but she moved in the 12th.
She ended up moving on the 12th shot and tried.
And then she struck. So from the spectator's view, it looked like she didn't do anything different, but from what I heard the coaches say, well, we saw you.
She moved a little bit just to make sure, see that it was going to be the right move right
Correct.
after. So she was willing to give up a 300 game on a World Cup, which is something you can explain for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
And she was willing to give that up in order to make sure she's on the right spot for what's coming right after.
Correct.
Even knowing that she's going to be starting from 0 today.
Correct. So yeah, I think she is I haven't talked to her, but she looks like a very confident young lady.
She's very confident, but I also must say she's very humble. I had the opportunity to do 3 interviews with her already during the week, and she's super humble. She measures every word she's going to say. She wants to make sure she doesn't say anything that she shouldn't say. And that tells a lot also of her brain and the way the brain is working for her.
Well, isn't she also, she won last year, didn't she?
I have no idea. What I can tell you is that she's striking over and over again. She's already having 8 in a row, I think.
Yeah, she's going to pole vault. She's got seven in a row.
She's going for the 280 game if she strikes out.
plus 30 pins bonus.
Plus 30. She's gonna make even more than she did yesterday.
She's going to
She's gonna take
skyrocket.
310 this time.
Yep.
We see a very different body language also today for Maya, the Swedish bowler. It feels like she had a little bit of extra pressure being, being the local with a lot of friends around and some of the family also rooting on the crowd. So probably she felt a lot of responsibility. Now she's looking a little bit better. Yeah, we have the confirmation that Costa Rica actually, she did win last year. So yeah, we can expect her to give a big fight again.
Yeah. So, she looks like she shot 269. Oh, 268.
268. But that's a good game, definitely. It's a nice way to come back. She didn't start that high. Actually, she was maybe a little bit unlucky with the results as well because she had the very low bonus. She's only got 15 in bonus. That means she lost two and tied one.
Right.
And the bonus can make a big difference. I mean, let's say she had won all of them, she would have 85 pins more, and she would be top 5 actually.
Yes.
So at the moment, the bonus is going to make a big difference. On the long term, maybe not that much. But for now, 90 pins in 3 games, yeah, that's a lot of help.
Well, it makes a big difference. If you look at some of the scores, you can win with a 180 and you may lose with a 220. 220, I don't think you're going to lose. but you could.
But it could happen.
It's like this one here, 200 lost because 268 was shot. But as long as you shoot even, I don't think you're going to get hurt too bad.
We have a very tight match on 11 and 12 between Germany and Ireland. It's pretty tight over there. Okay, Ireland can shoot 220. She's on the way for a 220 if she makes one more. So that's going to force Germany to do another strike in order to be able to beat and to win that game. That was a very good strike, actually. When you have to strike and you threw something like that,
yes,
that's going to pump up her confidence back to the top again. I mean, she has been bowling very good the whole week, very consistent. Germany was a bit surprising to see her struggling a little bit in the first couple of games, missing some spares, and well, she was pretty consistent on sparing as well.
Right.
So it probably had to do a little bit, as we said, with the pressure of, oh, now it's top 16, now every game it's bonus and I have to. And if there's something I learned during the years as a bowler is that anytime you put your mind on the I have to, it never works.
No.
It's a lot better to say, I can do it, I want to do it, I've done it before, so why shouldn't I? But never tell yourself, I have to. That's going to put your mind in a very tricky spot. Oh, it's a tie actually. She left a 10 pin, so it's 220 against 220. Unless I'm wrong. Let's see. Be 220, 220, right? Yeah, 220, 220. It's a tie.
That's a good tie.
You gotta be upset when you make the first two and you make a good 12 frame and you get that solid 10. Especially getting a solid with a urethane ball.
Yes.
But it is what it is. We see United States also managed to win her game, 224 against 192. That's going to be a nice bonus for her. And let's see. Australia slowed down a little bit, 183. She lost to Mexico, who had 194. And then Jenny, Norway, she won again with 212. So she's going to make a lot of pins and bonus at the moment. We are pretty soon going to give you an update as soon as the scores are up on the wall.
They're up.
Everything is out there already. Okay, so number one now with bonus is Norway, 1,050 for 4 games. As we said, those bonuses are. She's gonna be very happy about it. Very pleased. Denmark sitting comfy on the second place with 946. She also has 120 on bonus. She's won four of the games. Then we have Mexico. She also won the 4 games, so she is on 916. Then we have Australia with 2 wins, 2 losses. That's 60 pins, 901. And then Costa Rica, she made it all the way up to 5th place after this last game of 268 plus the bonus. United States also 6th place. Then we got England and Singapore is currently on the 8th place. It's pretty tight also from the 6th place till the 10th place. It's only 20 pins, so. But it's a very long day to go.
Yes.
Plus tomorrow. So you guys need to stay awake, keep on watching. If you have any questions, I mean, we have a PBA bowler over here. We can ask him whatever you guys want. If you have some questions about technique or mental game, bowling balls, whatever you guys want to ask, just feel free to pop up your questions.
One thing I noticed here too, on the women's side, there's a lot more two-handers on the women than there is in the states right now.
It's not that many two-handed in the USA then.
Not for the females.
Not for the female.
There's becoming some, but
not yet as many.
Not like what I've seen here. And these may be the top females from all the countries, and that makes it a little bit different. But there's just a handful.
You have to you get to see more and more of them, at least in Europe. After all, I mean, it's also you see what you especially see is in open bowling, at least down in Spain.
Yes.
When you go to a bowling center now and you see open bowling, you see so many that they don't use the thumb.
Yes.
And
that's the way it is in the States too.
They just realize it's a lot easier for them to make the ball hook than when you use the thumb hole. So you can see all of them trying different ways. Many of them, they don't even use the 2 hands. They just simply stick to one hand, but without the thumb.
Without the thumb. And I can say, you know, it's a lot more fun when the ball hooks.
Yeah. I mean, if we could find a way to get out there on the golf course and do something with the club that all of a sudden we get extra 50 yards and stuff like that, we would probably try all those things ourselves. Okay, so far we don't see that many people bowling deep on the lane. I think the one that's bowling the deepest still Costa Rica. She's somewhere around 13 on the arrows, but obviously she's sending the ball out, as we were talking, out to the friction. So she has a very consistent and strong ball motion at the back of the lane. Then we see quite a few reactive balls. I would say Mexico, United States, Thailand, and Australia. The 4th of them are making a very similar line around the 8th board, swinging it a little bit out, but not as much as Costa Rica. And then most of the things you see is the purple hammer pretty far outside. Probably the one that's further out, it's still Norway, shooting around the 4th board, maybe taking it out to port 2, 3, sometimes even 1.5 on the break point. Finland is also staying pretty far outside. And Maya, I'm not sure she's using the purple hammer today. Let's see. I don't think, no, that reaction was definitely not the purple hammer. That was a reactive ball. Not sure which one, because on the screen it's not easy to see. And the older you get, the less you see. But that reaction didn't look like a urethane, right?
Oh, which one?
Maya, the Swedish girl. She's bowling on lane.
12, right?
No,
Or
9 and 10. She actually left 3-6 10 3-6 9-10 4-7, and that usually is not something you leave with a reactive unless you have a lot of reps. Ireland is striking a lot today. She's doing a lot of strikes. We could definitely see from yesterday that Irish team benefit a lot on the arrival of PBA bowler Chris Sloan.
Oh, yes.
As soon as he got there, he started doing some coaching and giving them some tips. It had worked for them. They both made it all the way up to the top 16, and we can see some striking from Ireland already. She had a couple of low games in between, but she's looking better. She shot 220 on the previous game. Now she's working on a 4 in a row.
Well, that's the nice thing about this condition, too. The scores aren't overly high. So if you do get lined up and shoot some good games, you can make up a lot of ground real quickly. So, which is always nice.
Yeah, we see Costa Rica on lane 7. That went even a little bit too far outside, made the ball overhooked.
Yep. Not a lot of the girls have that reaction where if you miss too far right, it overhooks. Or Costa Rica,
She's got that grip on the hand.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the very speed approach she's got on the legs. She's got a lot of speed on the legs. That energy is going to transfer to the ball without her having to use too much power of the arm, which is going to allow her to have a more free swing. That is always a good help for you to become a little bit more consistent and hit your target more often. But not only that, by getting to the foul line that quickly, we could see if we could see it from the side and stop it, that would show us a very good timing. No way she's early at all. She's got all the body already there before the ball reaches the foul line. And that also is going to give her that extra balance and extra comfort whenever she wants to grip the ball.
Yeah, she uses her legs as well as anybody in the field.
It's one of the things that we see on, I mean, since we are talking for all of you viewers out there, it's one of the small issues we can see on amateur bowlers that you usually, especially when you're not feeling secure about what you're doing, you guys start to walk a little bit slower just to make sure to know you're doing what you want to do. But what's actually happening is that the ball and the swing, they're not going to wait for you. Gravity and inertia, they're going to stay the same. So the swing becomes faster than your feet. And then you end up reaching the foul line too much at the same time with your feet and the ball. And then you don't have any balance. And that's when you have to put that extra step after you release the ball because otherwise you're falling. So it's kind of a small tip we're giving you out there. Never be afraid to speed up the legs. After all, if you think about any other sport, soccer, they reach the feet there, and then the other feet comes and kicks the ball. You think about the tennis player, the feet goes there, and then the racket arrives. So if we translate that to bowling, we want the guys and the girls to look that way. So you get to the foul line, and then the ball is going to arrive. That's going to help you a lot, guys, if you have some timing issues or you feel you're missing a little bit of consistency. That's one of the first things you guys want to take a look on your own games. And that's how we like to do things up here in Sweden and Helsingborg, especially Olympia Bowling Alley. We want to make everybody happy, so we even do some online coaching for free for everybody out there.
Tips are always good. So, biggest thing is, I think everywhere, everybody always thinks you have to throw strikes. And what most people don't realize is to shoot a 200 game, you need 2 strikes in a row and all the rest spares. That's going to be 200. So build the frames is so important. Spares build the game. It's kind of one of those strikes are for show, spares are for dough.
In case someone is wondering, I haven't given any script to Paul. I haven't given any dialogue that he could say because I've been actually talking about the sparing issues
Oh,
on this generation for 3 days in a row. So I'm very happy that I'm not the only one talking about how many spares they give away,
oh yes,
especially on the boys squad.
yes,
You see 7, 8 strikes per game, easy, but
yep,
also a couple of single misses, single pins gone.
yep.
And you guys, they're not missing by 1 or 2 boards. I mean, some of them, they are missing by half the lane. And it's like, how can you strike 9 out of 10 and never take the single pin, which is the easiest part of the game?
It is. Most people don't realize you have approximately, I want to say 13 to 15 boards to hit a single pin. And I'm not talking about 15 boards at the arrow, it's through the whole 60 feet.
Down there on the pins.
So it's one of those, that's why you see most professionals get upset when they miss a single pin because they missed it. And most of the time, speaking from my own experience, it's because I got in my own way. So I am, I want to say, an expert at getting in my own way and talking myself out of spares. And that's part of the mental aspect. And a lot of it is, I call it, you kind of get in the funk that once it's in your head, it stays there and it's tough to eliminate it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one of the things I realized as soon as I started coaching, even if I started very young, because down there in Spain it's not such a high level. So since I was sucking all the information I could from Fred Borg, Joseph Wiener,
Yep.
Sid Allen, Thomas Lee Anderson, Tim Mag, anyone I could grab information from. So I got a lot of knowledge for what it was down there in Spain. So I started coaching people when I was 14, 15 years old. And the first thing I realized, of course, when you are that young, you are fearless. You actually never have any fear. Oh, you're gonna face Steve Mac, even better. That's the games I'm gonna play high, actually.
Right.
But the thing that was very surprising for me, sparing was always like fun for me.
Yeah.
And especially I remember being 7, 8, 9 years old. Down there, everybody was so scared of the 10 pin. They felt the 10 pin was so far down there, and for me as a kid it was like, oh, that's the difficult one, let me try. So I get very good at sparing
Yeah.
on the 10 pin. And then when I started to become kind of a coach, and the bowlers expressed that fear, they more or less felt like the 10 pin was getting further away, and as soon as they missed it once, it was even further away, and they could see it so small. And for me it was like, but this is the easiest pin of them all. You just move yourself far away, and that's also one of the tricks that you probably, guys, if you have some problems with the with the 10 pin, it's a lot of people sparing the 10 pin around the 15 board, and unless you really release it with a very weak wrist and no reps at all, the ball may hook a little bit. So my suggestion is, beyond making a weaker wrist so the ball has less reps and trying to go forward so the ball doesn't spin at the back of the lane, I would also suggest you guys take that spare as far left as you can. Let's say instead of using 15 and the arrows, you go all the way up to 23, 24. That's gonna open up the angle so much that the ball doesn't have any need to hang around the gutter. You can go directly to the pin, staying far away from the gutter. So if you're one of those guys that have some problems with the 10 pin, you may try this kind of things.
Well, and the biggest thing is, I'm sure it's the same over here. The more left you go, there's more oil in the middle part of the lane, so it makes the ball scoot more toward the 10 pin. So the biggest thing is on spares, if you're shooting a 10 pin and you're missing it to the right, you have too much angle. So you either move your target left or your feet right, and then if you're missing it left, well, you don't have enough angle, so you either move your target right or your feet left. So and that goes the same on the 7 pin side. So it's all about angles. So I always say bowling's geometry. I was not very good at geometry, but I'm very good at figuring out angles.
And that is the other thing that actually has changed in bowling for the past 25 years. We had the tendency, at least in here, we have the tendency to think of the balls, which one hooks most, which one hooks less. But back then, to bowl to 20 to 25, you made the top in any event, more or
Yes.
less. Nowadays, you need 250, even more sometimes. So the carry is super important. You no longer just look for the easiest part of the lane. You also are looking for which ball is going to give me the best carry.
Absolutely.
And to get the right carry, you need to understand the angles and how the ball is working on the pin. So you no longer need to just read the lanes, but in a way, you also need to read how the pins are falling. So you
Correct.
can understand, am I having enough angle? Am I becoming too weak? Am I becoming too strong? So it's no more about this. Some of you probably had this situation before. You went back home after your night league and your wife asked you, how did that go? Oh, I was so unlucky today. I hit the pocket so many times, but I left so many single pins.
Yep.
It's not about luck. You were on the wrong angle,
Correct.
and all the way around. How did that go tonight? Oh, I stroke a lot. I made 240 average, but honestly, I have no idea how that happened because I was not really making that many good shots. I was not hitting my target that good. But anytime my ball was in the pocket, I got a strike. So it's not that that ball is magic or the other ball on the other day was not good enough.
Right.
It's a matter of angles.
Absolutely. The biggest thing I try to coach is pay attention to how the ball goes through the pins. Everybody's under the impression when you leave a 10 pin, well, my ball hit too high. I said, no, it's actually the opposite. Your ball didn't come in, hit the head pin hard enough, high enough, hit more of the 3 pin, which hits the inside of the 6 pin, which wraps around the 10 pin. Said,
Absolutely.
when you try to get lined up, if you have trouble with 10 pins, try to 4 pin. If you 4 pin, you hit too much of the head pin, and then you make the adjustment, and then you have more of the correct angle getting the ball to go through the pins. The other thing is pay attention to where the ball hits the 8 or the 9. So ideally, an ideal strike is splitting the 8-9 every time. If you split the 8-9, I believe it's pretty close to 100% strike percentage.
So as you can see, guys, we're trying to give you as many tools as we can so you can go out there and test them on your own when you're bowling on the league, when you're practicing, whatever you guys are doing. And it's for the benefit of the whole world. I mean, after all, these kind of events like we are having now, we're hosting here in Sweden, it's for the promoting of the sport. We
Absolutely.
want the new generations to feel comfortable. We want them to have a memory for the rest of their lives. And also for those of you who are crazy enough about bowling to be watching early in the morning or even late at night, depending on which zone area you are now. I mean, we know you love the game, and we also love the game. So we
Yes.
really like to, you know, share as much as we can with you guys so we can help you develop your own game as well and have fun with it. We have one commentator asking, who's commentating? Oh, well, this is Luis Montfort from Barcelona, Storm staff player, and we also have the pleasure to have Paul Fleming, 1999 PBA Rookie of the Year. Unbelievable good bowler, super beautiful style, and
Also a Storm staffer and from Fort Worth, Texas.
but you see how polite we are. We are both bowling for Storm, and we say nothing wrong about the Purple
No,
Hammer.
it's a unique bowling ball, and
But since we talk about urethane for a moment, let me tell you, I was so happy when the IQ 78 came out. That ball ignited my brain in a way that no ball has done for maybe 15 years because I took a big break. I bowled a lot until I was 23. Then in 2004, 2005, I said, I'm bored. I'm going to stop. I was going to take 1 year off. It ended up being 10 years off. I was completely away of the game. I had my nightlife work, worked as a DJ at my radio shows, and yeah, it was very tough. For 1 year, I was doing both things at the same time, becoming a DJ bowling. So it was play all night long, go directly to the bowling alley without sleeping, take a lot of Red Bull so you could be awake, bowl the competition. But when you're 20, 25, you manage to do that. As soon as I reached the 30s, it was like, there's no way I can do both things. So I stood only on bowling. But what I mean is, back then, at the very early years, I used to let the ball do the job for me. I wasn't gripping it that much. So whenever I was really good, it was when the pattern was outside.
Right.
Outside lines was like perfect for me. I even used to say, "Who's Walter Ray?" That's how cocky I was at the moment. But as soon as I had to go in, yeah, it didn't work that much. Then by 2010, we had the Sea Talent came down to Barcelona, Catalonia. We spoke a little bit about how he saw the game. He helped me to learn how to grip it more and give a lot more reps. I probably tripled the rep rate I had. So all of a sudden I could jump all the way to 25, 26, hook all around the lane and feel comfortable about it. But since I didn't bowl much because I was in the nightlife, when I came back from the break, my last muscle memory was gripping it and hooking it. But that was never my A game. For me, it was still like the B game. So I had to stick to my B game. And it didn't happen until they released that U78 out of the box with the 500 grit. It was way too early for the South Europe conditions. We have very low volumes down there.
Okay.
So what I did is polish it, like really polish it. Actually, it was with a 3M, you know, the car polisher.
Yep.
So I made sure that, okay, now this ball is going to be hard. And as soon as I tested that ball polished, it moved me so far right that something in my brain clicked. And it was like, ooh, that's what I used to do on the 90s. So my rev rate went down instantly. I was back to let the ball do the job, but then I was back to who's Walter Ray. So I really, really loved that ball. It helped me a lot. It allows me to bowl back further outside. And since we were talking in the south of Europe, everybody uses the purple hammer,
Yes.
and everybody's more or less throwing that same area 10 to 15 in the arrows and swinging it out somewhere around the fifth board. What has allowed me to do with that U78, I actually drill a couple more of those, all of them polished. And what I do with those balls is I stay on the right side or on the outside than the purple hammer guys.
Right.
And it allows me to bowl as a lefty in a way.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I stay there, I
You got-
stay
you-
there all day long. I use the hole, I use the traffic of the purple on my left or on my inside line, and I can stay there all day long.
Yes.
So that ball made my life a lot easier
Yeah,
as a bowler.
and bowling, if you never really have to move your feet, bowling is what I say pretty easy. But the transitions and moving your feet and making the adjustments, that's what makes the carry different. Uh, it makes it a little more challenging. So
It becomes very tough. I mean, as a storm bowler, when you had to compete against the purple hammer traffic, and you couldn't stay outside of them, I was always forced to bowl so further deeper inside. The lane is always a little flatter over there, and that's not that many bowlers with high reps in the south of Europe, so the lane doesn't really open up that much, and it becomes very tough because you're in the part of the lane that the pattern is not that simple, and you cannot really miss to the right because then your backhand it's going to be suffering all the traffic of the purple hammer.
right.
So, so when that IQ 78 came out, all of a sudden was like, okay, I no longer need to be on the tough part of the lane. Now I can really go to where they put those blocks outside because they use those huge radius on most of the events and use the purple hammer as a whole, not as a killer.
That is true. It's true.
So as you can see, guys, there's a lot of stuff you can do actually as a bowler. You can go in, you can go out, you can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can go forward, you can go around it, you can cup the ball more, you can cup the ball a little bit less. The fun thing is that why not learn to do as many things as you can? It's perfect to have an A game, but if you're able to do more stuff, you can save and compete in a lot more conditions.
Well, and to that point, kind of what we were talking about before, back in the going back in time here in the 80s and the 90s, you had to make a lot of adjustments like that. And then one thing that I go back to that you see a lot of kids today, this is just the way they throw the ball. If you throw the ball a certain way, you want to throw the ball the way you throw the ball, you're going to score the best. But if that's not working, then you have other tools that you can add and at least make cuts and perform at a higher level. So that's one thing for myself. I'm going back to how I used to throw the ball, which was I was a straighter player, and more of what I used to do, and then I need to become more efficient at that again. And I think my success will hopefully translate into some wins. So
Because today, if we are honest, the thing that we can see today, especially, or I should say only, on the two-handers, because with a thumb in it's very difficult to accomplish that, is that the variable we start to see in some of the young kids is that they either hook it one way or they just suddenly go back up and use the other side of the lane.
correct.
So it's like probably they don't do as many things as we did back then,
Right.
but the two things they do, they really complement each other in a very specific and unique way.
Yes. And the good thing on where I compete on the senior tour, Belmonte is probably one of the oldest two-handers, and he's only 40.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of, I guess you'd say, high rev senior players. So not yet, anyways. So
Or we could say Robert Smith, perhaps.
Robert Smith just
Uh,
started competing again.
Amleto, perhaps.
Amleto,
Time to
Chris
time.
Barnes. Probably the highest rev rate that just came out is Tom Daugherty.
Yeah, Tom as well.
And he's a no thumber, not necessarily a two-hander. And then there's Ricky Schishler. He converted a couple years ago, but he's a 60-year-old. So he's got a higher rev rate, but not like the kids.
What is Walter Ray doing on the senior? Is he bowling one hand or two hands?
He's a combination sometimes.
He still does both,
So,
yeah?
but I think he just, I think at the U.S. Open he injured his shoulder.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not for sure the extent of it because the U.S. Open was going on as this tournament's going on. So
We saw Andres Gomez was the winner of the U.S. Open,
Andres
wasn't he?
Gomez was. I'm very happy for him. He's
Very wonderful guy.
Yes, he is.
Very wonderful
Yes,
guy.
he is.
We
So
want to congratulate Andres. Congratulaciones, Andres. Eres el puto amo. He's a very, very good friend of us and very humble person.
Yes.
Good bowler, always charming, always ready to answer if you have any questions. Is it
Yeah, very, very great guy. And
one of the best friends I've done in bowling, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's experienced the same thing. If you talk to, I want to say, any 50-year-old plus, they have some injury of something.
Something has happened already,
You
yes.
know, I've been lucky. I mean, I've had injuries ever since I've been 50. But if you talk to the next level, I say, yeah, I had a knee replacement. I had my other knee replaced. I had my shoulder, and my hip. I have all my original body parts.
Yeah, let's say, for example, Tim Mack.
Yes, Timmy.
I mean, Timmy was one of the most amazing bowlers we could see on the 90s and early 2000s.
Yes.
The things he did with the bowls, especially for the amateur bowling.
Oh, yes.
It was unbelievable. It's this kind of person that shared knowledge, always with a smile, always happy to take a picture, sign autographs, and it was all over the world,
Yes.
week after week after week. And it's so sad that he had so many problems with his shoulders. He's got both of them,
Well,
several surgeries.
and I don't know if you know Timmy's history. So Timmy played for Penn State.
American football, wasn't it? American football.
And if you see Timmy, he's kind of a stocky guy, but he's not like the typical football player. So he was kind of more, I would say, the big guys.
A compact version of an American bowler.
But he took a lot of punishment from these big football players. And unfortunately now, at his age, he's suffering from it.
It's paying out a little bit of that. That's the B side that nobody talks about of professional sports.
Oh, absolutely.
We only see, or in the news, they only show you, victories and trophies and how much money they make, especially on other sports, how beautiful their husbands or wives become, and they show all that.
Well,
but it's not very often they tell you the B side, the injuries, the sacrifice, the doctor visits, the surgeries, the pills, the medicines.
They show all of the superstars. You got Peyton Manning, which toward the end of his career, he had some neck surgeries and stuff like that. But a lot of the top players, well, they haven't, I guess, suffered as much as the front line and stuff like that. You never hear about the people that protect all of these guys. Well, their careers aren't as long.
Absolutely.
So I think the average football player is maybe 4 or 5 years.
But that is more or less what we say. They may talk a little bit about some NFL stars, NHL stars, maybe the baseball, even NBA, European football, soccer.
Yes.
But what about the small sports?
Yeah.
Like bowling, like, I don't know. With, of course, Formula One drivers or the motorbikes, because they have such spectacular crashes.
Oh.
Then they make the news, he broke his bone, and he broke this, and he broke that, and he's riding the bike again the week after, which is quite insane if you ask me. But it's the same thing for sports like bowling. It requires a lot of hours of practice. It's a sport in which you do such a repetition after repetition, but you're using one leg on one side of the body and one arm on the other side of the body. So it works, the body is working very unbalanced in a way, and that's going to cause problems for sure.
Down the road.
And yeah, exactly. And it's part of the things that not many people talk about, and especially now that we probably have some audience that's going to be younger due to the event we are talking about, or we should be commenting about. We're talking a lot about it, but preparation, physical preparation. I mean, it's crucial that you guys start taking care of your body as soon as you can.
And that's the biggest thing. Like I'll get some friends. They go, "Hey, I went bowling last night, and I'm so sore today." And I'm like, "Yeah," and they only bowled 3 games.
Exactly, when you guys go for 50 games plus in 1 week.
Oh, yeah. Most people don't understand the physical toll bowling takes and the shape you need to be in. I mean, when I competed on the national tour, I was more of what you call a gym rat. I mean, I was in the gym all the time, just working on my fitness and nutrition, and that's the biggest thing in life in general. Take care of your body. The saying is, you are what you eat, and it's so true. If you eat well, you're going to feel better. If you do exercise and some type of fitness, you're going to feel better. And it's good for the mental aspect as well.
That's a few things that are getting better in the whole aspects of life. They are learning more and more about what type of food does good for the body, what type of food you want to stay away from it because it becomes poison in the long term.
Right.
So this part, it's becoming a little bit of a better information. It gives you a better idea of what you want to be having on your diet when you are, let's say you are working a little bit harder on the gym. Let's say there's another time where you are a little bit slower, you're more on vacations, you give yourself a few weeks of rest. Maybe then you change your diet a little bit. But there are also things that you want to do no matter what, like stretching.
Yep.
I mean, to be flexible. That's one of the things that I never ever did before I was already 30, probably. And I was quite a healthy kid. I mean, I was not drinking, I was not smoking, I was not going out. I was so in love with bowling and basketball that I played basketball maybe 2 or 3 hours every day, and then I bowled for another 4 or 5 hours every day.
Wow.
So you do a lot of sport. I
Right.
was always skinny. I was never fat. Never had any issues with that. No cholesterol or whatever. But still today, I'm not there yet for the 50s. I'm not there yet for the seniors. But I have a lot of pain, and my low back is
Yep.
killing me day after day after day. And I've been doing gym work for the past probably 20 years. So what I'm meaning is that, especially if you're a bowler who has begun bowling even before you walk, like you start making your first shots when you are 2 or 3 months old, and you push a ball somewhere even before you can walk. It's gonna become super important that you start taking care of your body. The sooner, the better, because time passes so fast for everybody, and everything you don't start doing today, you're gonna end up paying tomorrow.
That is true. And and bowling is such a, as you said, it's a one-sided sport. You're using your left leg and your right arm, or left right arm and or left leg and right leg and left arm.
Yeah, you guys know what we're talking about, yeah?
Yes. So it's so important to work the other side of your body. One of the things that was always portrayed to me is if you bowl right-handed, practice left-handed. Doesn't have to be as many, but it's working the other side of the body to help balance it out.
Compensate a little bit. Otherwise, you
Yes.
just create a lot of muscle on one side and no muscle at all on the other
Yep.
side, and then you become like an S. The column is going in every direction, and you
Yes.
don't want it. All right, welcome to Doctor's Field, right? Let's talk a little bit about the standings. We are letting you obviously enjoy and view and watch, but we just try to make it a little bit more entertaining and talk a little bit about everything that is around the game. But it's time to see how the stats are at the moment. Norway is sitting on the first position with 175 pins to the second one. She's bowling really high today. She shot 234, 226, 258, 212, 247, and 244. And she's won every single game, so that means 6 out of 6, 180 pins bonus, and that puts her with 1601 after 6 games. That's a lot. That's a lot. Then on the second position we have Denmark. She's still bowling pretty comfortable, we could say. She's got games of 225, 182, 224, 195, 214, and 236. She's won 5 out of 6, so she's got 150 in bonus, and the total for her is 1426. Then when we drop down to the third place, it's already going down to the 1300s. That's going to be England. She's won, let me see, she's won 4. So she's got 120 in bonus, and her games at the moment were 211, 214, 201, 192, 224, and 192 again. So she's got 1354 in total. Right below it's Singapore with 1350. Number 5 is Mexico with 1348. Number 6 is Costa Rica with 1342. Remember, guys, Costa Rica started a little bit low with 195, 181. Lost both of the games. Then she shot 203 for the tie. But then it looks like the lane has already opened up for her. She shot 268, 233, and amazingly, she lost on the 233 as well. So she only have 45 pins on bonus. So she has 100 pins less bonus than the fifth bowlers above her. But yet she still managed to be so tight. I mean, she's only 6 pins behind Mexico, 8 pins behind Singapore, 12 pins behind England. Uh, United States right after with 1335. She's doing quite okay as well. And Colombia, it's currently on 8th position.
It, if you noticed, what I like about this, the top 8 are the top 8 averages.
It is.
So, because sometimes you can be in the top 8 and you won every match, but you don't have the highest average. So I personally, as a bowler, I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely. As a bowler, you always feel like those who make better scoring should be the ones on the top.
Well,
But when you have the bonuses, obviously, it can be a little bit tricky. Maybe you find the wrong opponent at the wrong moment.
well, given the Costa Rica, she lost with 233. You know, that 30 bonus, well, that really would have pole vaulted her even more. But you see, she's a 216 average. She's actually second highest average,
Indeed.
but she's in 6th place.
6th place at the moment. Yeah.
A lot of games left, though. If she keeps that pace up, I think she'll be in the top 3.
On the long term, usually bowling tends to balance everything onto the right spot.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, short formats may be a little bit tricky, but when we have so many games,
you know, the saying is the cream rises to the top. And usually long formats, that's where you see the U.S. Open, the Masters, all those. The best bowlers are usually ones at the top.
that's the one to finish up there. All right, in terms of what we see on the lanes, Jenny from Norway, she's definitely having a very, very comfortable day. You can see on her body language that she's really enjoying what's going on today. She's standing quite far to the right already from the beginning. The first 3 days she was like starting to the right, then following a little bit the transition, and then at the very end she would move far to the right. But today she seems to be from the start quite far outside, using all the angles she can on that purple hammer, and she's striking a lot. We have actually we've got some stats here at the moment. She's got on 53.8 strike rate, 75.7 on spare rate. It says she's bowling 211.6 average. But I believe those stats are the whole week, not just today. Sorry, guys, I just hit the microphone. It's the stats for the whole week. So if we were watching it just today, probably you could find out on some of these bowling apps connected on anywhere. They're not paying this time, so we're not going to say the name. Just kidding. But if you go to any of those online apps for bowling, you can see the stats she's having today. Okay, it's a lot of striking happening now. We see front 5 for Germany, then a 9 spare and strike. We see 8 in a row for Singapore, is it? Or Thailand? I don't see the flag yet. Singapore, yeah? Yeah, Singapore starts with front 8. Then we have 4 in a row, I think just 5 in a row for United States entering the 10th frame. So she's going for a 240 game. And we see Jenny is doing okay. Costa Rica is working on a 215 to 20. We see just a bit of a lower games on lane 3 and 4, but they have been a little bit tougher on the left side during the whole week, except for Costa Rica, which is very high games also on that side. But both on boys and girls, we have seen a little bit more tougher moments or more suffering moments on lanes 3 to 8 than the rest of the alley. Okay, 9 in a row now for Singapore, so we're looking for maybe
second 300.
Beautiful, yeah, beautiful. I just don't want to jinx anything, so you know how it goes.
Well, you can blame me for
But
that.
Jasper said yesterday, and they don't hear us from here, so hopefully it doesn't happen that we jinx them.
Yeah, you always hear the commentators in golf. Well, he hasn't bogeyed all around, and then that hole he bogeys.
It comes even a double bogey all of a sudden. Okay, United States, Costa Rica. She's gonna manage to win at the very end. She just made a double on the 10th frame, Elena. So she made it. She's gonna work on a 240.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a 240 against 220. Yeah, high scoring is showing up again. The nerves are probably calmed down already. Everyone's focused. They are in full control of what they're doing with the balls. They are knowing exactly where they want to stand on the lane. And for those of you who are not watching that specific camera, we may suggest you to go and have a look to lanes 9 and 10. We've got Singapore with the front 10. She's actually going to make the shot for the 11th frame. Oh, just a bit light in the pocket. She left the 7th green, but it's still going to be a very high 289 game.
It looks like Germany is going to make a pretty good move here also. She has 259 left, it looks like.
Oh, she got a split. She had the big
split.
church. Just had the big church.
She'll still get the win. She'll make up some ground.
Yeah, this time she's going to be happy about those 30 pins.
Yes.
Just to compensate a little bit the split on the last frame. That can be annoying, eh? When you're going for a 250 something and all of a sudden you just missed a little bit. You get the big 5 over there and you go like, oh, gave away 3 frames in one shot. And we have another very, very interesting game on lane 17-18. It looks like if they both strike out, they can tie on a 227.
Yes.
Ireland already has the 10th and the 11th. Australia's got the 10th. She's going for the 11th. Missed a little bit in, but she got it. Yeah, she got it. That was the hole that we were trying to find. That we said it wasn't there, but sometimes it is there.
So this would be.
They are completely tight at the moment, so it's more or less like a roll-off. Whoever shoots more on the 12th frame, she's gonna take the win, or it's gonna be a draw and they both take 15 pins. Another 217 game for Norway, and surprisingly, we had the 9 miss from Costa Rica on the 10th frame. So Jenny's got the Jenny's got the bonus again, and Costa Rica again with a 200 game is not gonna get any bonus.
Yep.
She's gonna have to work all the way without bonus.
Yeah.
My. Oh, that's true. That's Croatia, isn't it? Thank God we got Victor over here. He's the young one. He's got the right eyes. He's not using any glasses, and he sees a lot more than I do with binoculars on my eyes. Yeah, yeah. So Costa Rica 242 plus the 30 pins. You're right. She's gonna jump up right away.
And Ireland won by 1 pin.
By 1 pin at the end. Yeah.
She left a 10 pin.
Too many screens for me. I get lost. And then Maya, she won with 166 against 160. I mean that's part of this format also.
Yes.
We see the United States 224 lost, Australia 226 lost, and then all of a sudden Maya 166. You got 60 pins less, but you win. You got those 30 that are gonna make you very happy. And Singapore obviously is going to make a big jump as well after a 289 game and 30 pins of bonus. And she was actually facing England, that was at that moment on the third spot. So we have an update. Norway is still up there on the top with 1848. Then we have Singapore, which just she just jumped into the second place now. She's sitting out there with 1669. Then we got Denmark with 1638. Costa Rica again up there 1614. But see the bonus. Norway's got 210 pins in bonus. Costa Rica's got 75. So that's 140 pins in there already. But we must say Norway is bowling spectacular today. I mean, she's got 234 average.
Yes.
She could be competing on the boys division today and give them a lot of trouble.
That is true.
To carry on, we got United States, 5th position. Then we have Colombia. She managed to be up there no matter what. When you look at the streaming, sometimes you think like, she seemed to have lost it. She seemed to be suffering a little bit, but man, she stays up there no matter what.
Well, she just, well, I haven't watched her too much, but she moved more toward the outside angle where
it looks like she's using a reactive, but she found a way to go further outside. She gets a better carry. When she was a little bit deeper, she was not really carrying that much with the 10 pin. Had a little bit of deflection, as we were talking before.
Well, I think she's
the
got
ball
a better
was not
angle.
splitting the 8-9.
Yeah.
Now she's got a lot stronger angle. The entry and the energy looks a lot better than it did a few games ago. And what else do we have? We have Mexico on the 7th place. England is currently 8th. Ireland, 9th place. Australia dropped down to 10th. Germany slowly going back up. She's now on 11th position. Malaysia 12th. Sweden 13th. Finland 14th. Croatia 15th. And Thailand is at the moment at the 16th place. Not that far from the cat though. I mean, it's only 200 pins. And it's a lot of games to go, so obviously it's still going to be a lot of ups and downs and moving around the qualifying for the next step.
Norway is using a purple.
Yeah, she's been
the whole time, I thought,
all day long. It's one of those, I said, probably take them to the shower, take them to bed, and cuddle them at night, make sure the ball is happy enough for the next morning. But she does it very good.
She does.
She's very consistent. She has a very, very nice technique.
Very simple game.
And also, as we said before, she also has a very nice speed on the legs.
Yes.
That's going to help her transfer a lot of energy to the ball without having to overdo with the arm. And that is going to secure her to have more or less a very free swing, a lot more consistent hitting the target.
Well, and the nice thing, she's very tall also. So, it's kind of one of those, if you have a nice simple game and you're 8 inches taller than somebody else, well, you're going to have more power automatically. She's got a simple game with a lot of power.
Okay, let's see who's facing who. lane 17-18, we're gonna have Mexico against Germany. Then 15-16 is Finland and Ireland. Then we have Australia and Jenny, Norway. It's gonna be on 13-14. See, what are we? I don't really see. It's England, lane 12 against Venta. Thailand on lane 11, true. Then we have Croatia and United States on 9-10. We have, we have a local, we have a neighbors meeting on lane 7-8. Denmark is facing Sweden. Then we have Malaysia and Costa Rica on 5-6. And Colombia and Singapore on 3-4. We're actually entering the last game, aren't we? 8th game run right now. They are really bowling fast, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. Then they complain about the girls being slow. There's no way. The boys are a lot slower than they are.
Typically in the States, the girls are much slower. So, especially watching collegiate tournaments, the girls will be a whole game.
A whole game, yeah. Wow.
At the end of the day, guys are already done, and then it may be 6 frames, but they are typically slow. I don't know why.
Hey, they want to make sure what they're doing.
I think there's more high fives and more cheering on the girls' side.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more of chit chat than talking about, did you see that hair she's just done? Have you seen the nails? We're just kidding. But that, yeah, I must say, especially in Scandinavia, that was one of the things when I moved up here into Sweden. These people bowl so fast up here. And I mean so fast, especially
like
compared to the Spanish pace. I would say 6 games, two person per lane, 6 games in Spain. It takes at least 3 hours for 6 games, at least.
Wow.
Sometimes 3.5.
Wow.
Up here, 6 games, it was hardly 2 hours.
Right.
1 hour 45, 1 hour 50.
Yeah.
So whenever I started bowling, especially when I had to bowl with the young kids I was coaching up here, I always had my tongue down to the knees. I was trying to catch my breath. It's like, oh, my time to shoot again? Let me breathe. And it's not that I think a lot when I'm in the approach. I mean, I grab the ball and I go. But they bowl so fast. My God. Especially the two-handers. They run so much on the lane. And it's like, come on, go. You have to shoot again. Already? You shot already? And they make so much strikes that it's like, why don't you make a couple of spares so I can sit down for a minute? All right, let's see what we got there. 3 and 4. Singapore's got a couple of open frames. Strike spare for Colombia. That's the match on lane 3 and 4. Then when we go all the way to 5-6, Malaysia started with a double 9 strike. Costa Rica is 9 spare strike, 9 spare. So it's still very tight out there. Malaysia just made a double. She's going to force Elena to work out a little bit stronger on the rest of the game. Denmark and Sweden. So far, Denmark is in an open frame up to the 5th frame, and Maya's got a double spare double. She's actually making a shot now to try to make the turkey. She's also pretty far outside. That looked pretty good. Solid strike. Then we go to 9-10. Oh, we have United States with the front 5. Looking strong. Then England has a couple of open frames, but she just made a double. So it's getting closer, just 1 mark behind. Then if we look at 13 and 14, and Norway seems to be finding a little bit of traffic. We can see the ball is not penetrating as strong as it was a few frames ago or a couple of games ago. It could be also that this pair became a little bit more tricky than the other ones. She's facing Mexico. Mexico has no open frames, so at the moment, even suffering a little bit with the pin action, she's still ahead in that match. And then when we go to 15-16, Ireland's got a couple of open frames, but she just made a double to cover one of them. And Finland is currently on a Turkey, and the 9 spare strike 9 spare. Then on 17-18 we have Mexico and Germany. They both have one open frame, but due to the pin count, Germany is about 3 pins ahead. So pretty tight, unless we talk about Denmark-Sweden at the moment. Sweden is looking good and strong on that game. She has some advantage. And Denmark, okay, we just seen a change on that. She's just moved into a reactive ball and moved a little bit deeper. I haven't seen her doing that during the week. She just stood with the purple hammer further outside. So maybe it has felt a little bit different, which for a lefty, I think she's the only lefty
I believe
at
you're
this
right.
stage.
Yep.
So it would be interesting to ask her later on if she remains on top 3. To find out if something felt different today. But this game's going to be tough for her because Sweden is already with a double and a 5-bagger. Okay, Costa Rica, she has a 9 miss. She's further outside with the purple. That may explain why the carry is not there as good as it was a couple of games ago. Maybe that ball is coming a little bit too far from the right for being a pearl. It could be a little bit sensitive, but also it could be that she needs something that goes through the heads. So sometimes you have to sacrifice either one thing or the other.
Oh, right. Especially how much her ball comes off the spot. You know, she's just got to navigate the angles. You know, the ball was probably slowing down too much and wasn't getting to the pocket consistently. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, they say there's no defense in bowling, but there's a time that you got to go for it, and then there's a time that you just got to, I call it, take your lumps, and there's another block.
You have to be smart. Definitely, you have to be smart. You cannot always
You don't want to dig
get up
yourself a
there on the
hole.
lane. I'm going for a 300, and I'm going for a 300. I'm going for a 300. I mean, when you're 15, that's what you want to do. You only try to make strike every single shot and go for 299 average if possible. But then when you grow up and you learn more about the game, you understand that there are times for everything. There are moments where a 200 game is a high game.
Or 190.
Even 190, exactly.
You know, sometimes 190 is just as good as 250 because you didn't shoot 150.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's always nice shooting 250, but it's not realistic most of the time. In Norway, she's won every match.
And she's on the way to win the 8th as well.
She's going to win this one too. So now you can see the difference in the standings on the top 8. There's 2 players that are up there that have more wins, and average-wise. You see Australia and Ireland, they have a higher average, but they don't have as many wins.
Absolutely.
But you see where their consistency comes in. You know, 150s, it's tough.
Yeah, on the other hand, for example, we could say Mexico, she's on 196 average at the moment, but she has already 150 in bonus.
Correct. Yep.
and she really had one game of 165. That's the one that lost absolutely. 179 on the last. She didn't make it as well, but she was pretty consistent. 190, 190, 190.
Right.
And when there's a lot of pressure going on and stuff, we just said it like 5 minutes ago. Sometimes 190 is a good game.
Even the 186, she started and she won. So sometimes 180 is just as good as 220. You know, the biggest thing with the match play format, all you have to do is beat your opponent, you know, to get some bonus. So sometimes it's 250 to beat your opponent, and sometimes it's 180 to beat your opponent.
Okay, games are getting close to the end. England lost with 166 against 205. And we have United States working on a 220. She's gonna win the match. Maya, she missed the 5-pin. Not many people had the hands up over there, but still she made it. She's won 235 against 165 on the Scandinavian Derby. Costa Rica, she's gonna win. Even she had a single pin gun. Now she's on the Turkey on the way for the 10th frame, going for the 4th one.
Wow.
And she's got it, so working on 220 again. She makes it so easy to make 220. It looks like effortless.
Yes.
Then Colombia is gonna 205 against Colombia.
Yep, she won.
Winning the match as well. Jenny, she worked out 236 again, Norway. So she's going unbeaten. She's taken all 8 victories. She's gonna be happy.
And raised
No
her
doubt
average.
about it. She keeps complaining about the interviews, but she's making it all the way to the interviews over and over again.
you just tell her during the interview, if you don't want to interview, don't bowl so good.
Don't bowl so good, definitely. And then we have Germany. That's going to be the last match at the moment on the right side of the lane. She worked out Turkey, so she's going on the way for 214. She's going to win the match, so she's going to get some extra bonus, and that's going to make her jump a little bit up. Probably she's going to get closer to the cut, since Ireland made 190 and lost. Australia made 180 and lost. Malaysia, where's Malaysia? Lost there. No, Malaysia is on 190 something and lost. And Ireland, I've said Ireland already, didn't I? 190 and lost, yeah. Looks like Germany, even after a very long, complicated day, she may find herself pretty close to the cut.
Yeah, the biggest difference coming into tomorrow, as long as you're within striking distance and didn't dig yourself a big hole, which looks like there's going to be 13, probably 13 players that still have an opportunity. I mean, it could be all 16, actually. I mean, if one of these players get hot.
How many do go in? Is it the
top eight?
Top 8 go on, yeah?
Top 8. Top 8, and then it's best 2 out of 3.
Oh, look at that. Germany is on 7th position all of a sudden, so it was quite the jump for her.
Wow.
Look at that. I mean, she's only, let's see, 9 pins ahead of the cut, but I'm pretty sure she's going to be smiling after the way she started.
Absolutely.
And that's what we mean. I mean, this sport requires you to fight until the very, very end, no matter what. You never know what's going to happen. You don't want to give up too early. You just have to keep on fighting.
To me, my philosophy, unless you're mathematically eliminated, you just got to keep going.
Keep on going.
Anything can happen.
All right, guys, that was all for the ladies squad. We'll be back in more or less an hour or so to do some comments about the boys squad. And we want to thank again Paul It was a pleasure to have you here. It was very interesting. A lot of wonderful stuff we could speak about, and
Yes, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
hopefully everybody enjoyed as much as I did. And it was a true pleasure. I hope I'll see you again sometime soon.
Yes,
Thank you very much, buddy.
my pleasure.
I'll see you soon, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.